Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are joining us from around the world. Welcome to the continuation of session 3 of the first IHF live online symposium. My name is Courtney Gahan. I'm a member of the IHF Media Group and I am the moderator for this afternoon's session. To begin, I will outline the translation options we have for those joining us on Zoom. We have French, Spanish, Arabic, and Russian today. You can find these at the bottom of your screen by clicking the globe icon and choosing the label for your language. Please note that Arabic is under the label Chinese, and please remember to mute the original audio if you're using the translation so that you don't have any interference. This first IHF Live online symposium forms part of the virtual academy launched recently by the IHF with the goal of providing global online training and licensing opportunities. All of this falls under the umbrella of the IHF Education Centre, available at ihfeducation.ihf.info. The topics presented are focused mainly on coaching and refereeing, but they're of interest all in handball and all handball enthusiasts. This afternoon's lecture is presented by the IHF Health and Fitness team for referees, and they will be focusing also on the topic of restarting after the COVID period. Please feel free to ask questions throughout the lectures, as we will stop a few times to address your questions. And please also note you will be able to access this video later for on-demand viewing on the IHF Education Centre. And so we are ready for you to begin.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. Thanks a lot for your presentation. And hello, everybody. Hello for all the worldwide handball friends that you are looking at through this fantastic seminar that IHF has prepared for we all around the handball world. I can see different names here, different IHF referees, different friends. Alexis, Christian, I've seen Mariana. Okay, hello to everybody. Thank you for being here. Let me introduce you a little bit. Let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm Sergi Federer. I'm the manager of the FitGood Pro IHF team. So I'm the person in charge of health, wellness, and performance of the IHF referees. So from that point, I want to wish you all health, because this is our main issue we are going to talk today, health. And I want to talk, and first I want to thank for preparing that seminar to Dietrich and to Ramon and the IHF crew with Courtney and the technical team that are working behind us to be presenting. Also want to thank you to my partners at FitGood Pro, and you all also again for being here, listening and watching us today. So at this point, let me introduce you a little bit the seminar with some questions to walk the presentation to a point. Who wants to be healthier? Does anybody here wants to be healthier, to be faster, to be stronger, or to have more endurance on the court, for instance, thinking about referees? Who wants to avoid as many as possible injuries? Who wants to avoid injuries? Do you want to be more self-confident on the court? Do you want to manage better stress situations, for instance? Is that interesting for you? And yes. Do you want to be better referee at the end? At the end, do you want to be better referee, taking better decisions, less errors, achieving or triggering the flow of the match? So, sounds pretty good. That's the main purpose of that seminar, okay? To empower you all to be better athletes, but to be better referees, okay? So let me present the FitGood Pro IHF team that it's composed by Dani Ariño. We have here Dani is our fitness coach at IHF. Hello, Dani.
Hello.
Then we have Maria. Maria is our IHF Physiology. She works with us in the World Championships, taking care of our refs. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
And then the team is also composed by Ariadna, that she is our nutritionist, sports nutritionist for referees also. Are you here, Ariadna?
Hi, yes, nice to meet you. I hope that we can help you and that you learn a lot of during this conference, okay? Thanks and enjoy it.
Thank you, Ari. And then we have Lucia, that she is our mental coach, and Mark, who is our graphic designer. So this is the team, the crew that is preparing all the work, all the stuff we do along the year with the referees. Our seminar is going to be, it's 3 online workshops in one presentation, in one seminar. We will do 3 different workshops with 3 different points of view of one same issue, that it's health and performance on referees in confinement or back to whistling, okay? So that we can talk about training and injury prevention, nutrition, and mental coaching, okay? The issues, as I've said, health and wellness for our IHF referees, and also always what we talk, also for worldwide humble referees, okay? Also for another kind of athletes, but we always work very specifically for referees, and in that case, for humble referees. Our work is always with IHF referees, but the rest of humble referees of the world can profit this knowledge to make them better referees in all ways. So why this seminar? Because we are in a special world situation with confinements and probable future confinements. So we need to learn how to adapt to new confinements, or if you are actually now in a confinement, but also if there will be more confinements in the future, because the situation is different. And we need to adapt our training, our nutrition, and our mental coaching, our psychology. So we will learn how to adapt your life to that kind of start and stop referring situation. How to adapt when you have to stop your referring, do a confination, and then start again referring, okay? That sounds easy, but at the end, it's very complicated. And we have a lot of risk of different kinds of injuries. So the issues we will talk about: strengthen immune system, how to cope with confinements and stress situations like match day, maintain appropriate training level during confinement, return to training and minimize risk of injury after a confinement and back to whistling, and how to be better referees at the end, taking the best decisions on the court. That's the final goal we look for, okay? So with all that in mind, I want to let the word to Dani Ariño and Maria Muller-Thyssen, who are going to start with the first lecture, the first workshop about training and injury prevention. Very important to adapt, know how to adapt your training and to know how to avoid injuries in that kind of special situations we are living. So Dani, if you're ready,
Okay.
Everything's for you.
Thank you very much, Sergi. Hello, how are you guys? Hello, humble friends. Hello, referees. We miss you. We miss you so much, and we want to see you. We want to see you very soon. I'm looking a lot of friends here in the Zoom. Hello to everybody. I'm going to begin the first meeting about referees training and injuries prevention with a little joke. Look at this. Look at this. Referees are not athletes. Yeah, referees' life is not like the athlete's life. Referees training is not like the athletes training. Oh, it's a lie, sorry. We don't agree, it's a joke. We are absolutely sure that the referees are athletes. The referee's life is like the athlete's life. And the referee's training must be the same that the athlete's training. We are absolutely sure. And we are sure that it is the way to become better referees in the next future. I am sure that a lot of people think that you are not athletes, but we are fighting, we are pushing with you to try to change it, and we will do it, I'm sure. What's happening now? What's happening now, guys? We are living a very difficult situation, a new situation. What's the problem? We don't know what have happened last 2 months, last 3 months, but we don't know what's going to happen in the next week, in the next month, or the next 2 months. And this is very difficult for you, it's very difficult for us, I'm sure. And maybe you feel stress, you feel anxiety, you feel uncertainty. It's normal, I'm sure. And Sergi is going to talk about it in very few minutes. But it's our new reality, and we must try to adapt our new situation. But I'm going to talk about a little bit of training. I am going to show some interesting things. I think that we need to learn from similar situations in the past. Look at this. In 2011, there was a lockout of almost 5 months in the Football National League in the United States. The annual average incident was about 8 Achilles tendon injuries in a full season. Yeah, but 65% occurred during games in the regular season. But after this lockout about 5 months, they registered a total of 12 Achilles tendon injuries just only in the pre-season, and 10 over the first 12 days. Wow. Danger, warning, be careful, crazy. From 8 injuries in 1 year to 12 injuries just in 1 month. It's unbelievable, it's unbelievable. Look at the picture. Only 2 injuries before the regular season in the normal season, and 12 Achilles tendon injuries after the lockout, after 5 months locked down at home. This is a similar situation. But just now, just in the Spanish Football League, a similar situation. The football players have been locked down at home about 2 months, like you, 3 months or 1 month, and they begin to train. Look at this, first week trainings, 2 injuries. Yeah, in the second week, 4 injuries, but in the third, in the fourth, and in the 5th week, 22, 16, and 20 injuries. 64 injuries only in 5 weeks, only training, not playing, only training. So we must learn, and we must be very, very careful, very, very careful, because in a very special situation and a very dangerous situation for all the athletes, not only for referees, of course, for all the athletes in the world. What happened now? What can we do? What can we do now? We are living an uncertain situation, a difficult situation, but we can focus on things that we can control, looking for your well-being. In Macedonia, in Vigo, we talked about invisible training. You remember invisible training, things that we do before training, before practice, and after practice. people things that people don't see, but are very, very important. For example, sleep. We need to sleep about 8 hours per day. I know, we know it's difficult because we have a job, children at home, and different situations, but it's very, very important for us. It's very important for you. And during the lockdown, we don't know, very difficult situation, very difficult to sleep because in the world it's a disaster, or in my family or in my friends, it's difficult to manage this situation. Diet, nutrition, Sergi is going to talk about it in few minutes, and we know that we think always about it. In all the meetings, in all the World Championship, we talk about diet and healthy nutrition, and performance nutrition is an important part of the invisible training. And the social life. We haven't been locked at home, locked down at home about 1 month or 2 months. Yeah, we need go out. You need our friend. We need our colleagues. We need other referees. We need my team, my coach. We need go out and begin again this social life. And we must try to manage the stress relief. Look at this picture, Netflix, 12 hours in front of the television watching Game of Thrones is not a good idea to manage my stress. It's not a good idea. Maybe you think, oh, fantastic to be at home every day watching TV, but wow, it's difficult. It's difficult to manage this stress. We need go out, guys. We need go to the beach, go to the forest, go to walk, see the sun, and do all things that we usually do in the normal way. We think the invisible training is one of the most important parts just in this new situation. But we must return to activity, and we must take account important considerations. We are going to talk about about load management, and about recovery strategies. Why? Because they are under my control. I can control these 2 topics, so we must work hard about it. First of all, load management. 2 principles of the training. I like it. These 2 principles. First of all, progression. What it means. So you should increase overload when your body adapts to its present routine. Maybe some of you begin to train from 0. You have been at home, locked down for 2 months on the bed or on the sofa, or you didn't like do sports. So you begin from 0 and you begin to train step by step. You can play with the frequency, you can play with the intensity, with the time, and step by step begin to train in a normal way. But remember that we begin from 0, or maybe you begin from 0. And specificity advises that you gear your training towards specific goals. So you are different from me. You are different from a football player. You are different from a rugby player. And you must begin adapting your new situation to yourself. We must think about it. We must think about these 2 principles of training. How to manage this training load. Look at this picture. I like it, this picture. This is an usual scenario, a pre-season and beginning of a competition. What do you usually do like a coach? We begin training hard with high volume, yeah, with few intensity, and step by step, we change this volume and begin to reduce it. I increase my intensity. I might try to arrive to the first match of my competition, to the first part of the competition in a good performance peak. This is our idea, like coaches. but it's very difficult. This is not easy. This is not exactly. I do it and I have a performance, a perfect performance peak in 1st of September. But this is the idea. This is what we prepare, a general preparation and a specific preparation. But we are living a difficult situation, a new situation. And Maria is going to talk to you about a very interesting concept. We need to buy time. We need more time. This season, this pre-season, we need more time. Why? Because maybe we begin from zero. So how can I manage this situation? Look at this. We must begin to train with a general training. Yeah, with a general training. With a training like maybe the other athletes, not like a referee, not like a humble referee. Yeah? The 2 first weeks, I must begin step by step, slowly, running, and with exercises, general exercises. But step by step, you can see that we are changing the color. Yeah, we come from the general training to the specific training. We are increasing the volume and the intensity, and step by step, we try to arrive to the beginning of the competition in a very good performance peak. This is not easy, but we need time. We need time. We need maybe 2 weeks more to begin with this general training and step by step improving my state. Tools. How can I do it? I'm going to show you four easy tools that you can use at home every day. First of all, the Borg rating. What's it? It's a way of measuring physical activity intensity levels. What it means is how hard you feel your body is working. Very easy. Look at the picture. Yeah? A picture with colors, with numbers. We begin in the level 0 with absolutely rest, and the end of the table is the number 10. Absolutely, really tired, really hard. What's the idea? We must begin to train in level 3, in level 4, in level 2, in few levels, because we are in a difficult, in a new situation, in a dangerous situation, and we must begin step by step. You must know yourself, your sensations during the physical activity, and you must check. After the train, wow, I feel I'm very tired. I am in the level 9 in the second practice of the pre-season. Wow, be careful. I feel in the level 3, in the level 4. Perfect, you are in a good way. We need time. Okay? Next one, the numeric pain scale. Look at this. It's a similar scale. It's for measuring subjectively the pain you feel from 0 to 10. If you begin to train again and you feel pain about level 8, level 9, you must stop training and go to the specialist, to the physio, to the doctor. If you begin to train and feel maybe pain level 1, level 2, like before the confinement, no problem. So you can note the body localization, the date, and the task you were doing when pain appeared. And you can check it and you can control every day this situation. I think it's very useful for you. What else? The polar coach. We gave you a polar coach from 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and you must use it every training, and especially now. You can manage your training load with the polar coach. What's the idea? Look at this. You must begin to train in level 2, level 3, maybe some moments in level 4. But step by step, you must increase this load. You must begin to train First day of my training, first practice in the level 5. Wow, danger. Be careful. Be careful. It's a good idea. Win 1 week, win 2 weeks in a good level, in a good performance, and step by step increase my load. What the last? Simple, a diary to note any change and other variables of training like shoes, surface, weather, time of the day are important things to check, to note, and to compare. Wow, when I run at 12 o'clock, it's a disaster for me. I'm very tired. If I run at 8 p.m., I feel better. So change. You note, you can check it in a diary, and you can compare. These 4 tools are very useful, are very easy to use, and are very practical. If you use it, you can win a lot of things. For example, and I'm going to explain annual training plan. For example, the week 8. You can see mobility exercise, especially important now, warm up. 8 sets of 3 minutes running, 80 or 85% of my max heart rate. Wow, maybe it's too much for you to begin to train. And maybe you begin to train with this intensity and you feel in the board rating in the level 9. So reduce the load. Begin about 60, about 65. And maybe you feel in the level 4, level 5. Yeah, good idea, don't worry. Don't worry, we need time. We need time. Next one, 40 minutes running. Wow, 75, 80%. I'm going to begin with 60 and 40 minutes running at 60%. I feel in a level 8, in a level 9. Wow, stop, reduce. Nothing happens. And you must run at 50%. At 50%. Don't worry. Okay? Next one, for example, 4 sets of 9 minutes. In the same way, check, know yourself. Know yourself, feel yourself. Okay? How tired do you feel? The pain and the feelings. I feel, wow, after this practice, I'm very, very tired. I'm too much tired. My heart rate have been 60, but I'm very, very tired. Wow, it could happen. Reduce, nothing happens. But Maria now is going to explain how can we buy time. How can buy time to improve in a very good way. Thank you, guys. Maria, can you follow? Yeah?
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about how to do a safe and an optimal return to the activity, to our training session. The first thing I have to do is to look at me and to examine my body. Just look at you and look if you are in a good physical condition. What is your baseline? What is your starting point, your floor? Then the second point is to know what is the condition I need to arrive to the beginning of the matches, okay, to arrive to the sailing. So the second thing is how should I be when the match starts? I should be in a very good or in an optimal physical condition. And then the third is the time. How much time do I have to get from floor, from this point to the sailing? Okay, why I'm explaining that? This is important because when we talk about injuries and the prevention of these injuries, one of the things it's important to control is how I increase this load. How is this curve? If this curve is increasing very high and very quickly, then my body don't have enough time, my tissue don't have enough time to create adaptation. And some tissues are more proclived to have some injuries. So it's important to try to get a positive scenario. That means that I have to buy time starting my training session just some weeks before than usual. Then I will have more time and I will be more prepared. So my flow will be higher, and then the curve will flatten. So the amount of load is important, but how I get from one point to another point is the real issue. So remember that you are referees around all the world. So the situation is different. Some of you maybe with this period of COVID, with this period of isolation, you can do your training as usual. And some of you maybe you have a very high detraining. And you have also individual conditions. That means that your history of injuries are different between all of you. So it's important to try to adapt. It's important to try to adapt the plan and the session, and to make sure that training load will be appropriate to your current level of conditioning. Here we can see an example of a referee workloads during the last month. So we can see the number of training sessions. This is the volume. Then we can see the matches and the rest days. And what happens here? The lockdown appears. So we can see that the number of training sessions are increasing. So the volume is increasing, and then we can see a decrease in the number of training sessions. What happens here? Probably, as Danny told you, we can see that here the volume and the intensity of this training session was not very high, but then the training session decreased, and the intensity is higher. So we are talking about two phases, and it is important to do all these phases. The first is a retraining phase from March until August, and here we can see a retraining phase from March maybe until May, June, and then a pre-competition phase. Normally, you do your pre-competition phase, or you do your pre-season. You start maybe in August. It depends. But now we have to buy time, so I have to start before. I have to start some weeks before than usual my training session, and then be ready for the competition. So why I'm insisting on this progression, and why is very important this load and the progression of the load? Because load is one of the factors that influence the appearance of injuries. The injuries are very difficult to manage and to prevent because they are multifactorial, and there are a lot of factors that influence in this appearance. But let's try to control the load. So remember, a quick increase in load or a poor or improper load can cause injuries, especially in soft tissues like tendons and muscles. And you as referees, you must pay special attention to all this posterior chain, because you are runners, and it's important to pay attention to the Achilles tendon, to the hamstring, and to the calf muscles. You are demanding a lot these posterior chains, so be careful here. We can see in this graphic, in the last World Championships, in the last Women World Championships in Japan, that 47% of the complaints of the referees was located in the calf complex, and 55% in the hamstring. So that's happened. This has happened just now. to return to this training or to this activity, I have to keep in mind some signals, some alarm signals that my body is telling me something is wrong, something is happening. So here we can see that muscle soreness, it's normal to have some muscle soreness after the activity, after doing a physical activity, but it's not normal that they take more than 48 hours, okay? This maybe the load was too much and maybe I have to reduce this load. Then feeling tired or feeling extenuate 48 hours after my physical activity, I have to be alert and to think that maybe the load was very high to my body, to my tissues, and that's not normal to feel extenuate 2 days after the activity, okay? A key point here, I think, is this third point. Having morning tendon stiffness or some crepitus the day after exercise. Here your body is telling you that there is a reaction and inflammation in this tissue, and it's important to try to reduce this inflammation very quickly, because if I don't reduce this inflammation, maybe I can have problems later, not only in this tendon, but maybe in all the leg. So be careful with this signal. Then, swelling in tendon or joint. It's not normal to have when you are doing some activity, the inflammation in your tendon or in your joint. Here something happens, something is wrong. So a decline in performance is another signal. With the pass of the days and the pass of the week, you should tolerate well this training session and your performance will improve. You shouldn't feel a decline in your performance. Be alert with this signal. Pain during or after the activity, okay? Very tight muscles, you will have another signal maybe of some fatigue. Maybe your muscle are not tolerating well the load. Maybe your muscle are very tired or not in a good condition, in a good physical condition, okay? And another signals could be also disturbed sleep quality or disturbed mood. So if you have if you feel any of these signals, you have to think and you have to take a look to some of the load, some of the factors that influence in this load. So maybe I'm doing a very high intensity training and I'm not prepared for. Maybe the frequency is very high, then I need more rest between the sessions. Or maybe I'm doing too much training. So take a look to this, to the workload, intensity, frequency, and volume. Then the diet, think if I'm eating well or not. Think if I have change, if I have do any change in my diet, or if I'm well hydrated or not. So take a look to the diet, and take a look to the sleep. Take a look if I'm sleeping in quantity and as well in quality. If I'm sleeping well or not, as Daniel told us, with this uncertain situation, sometimes it's difficult to have good sleep, and it's very important to have a good rest between each session. And then the recovery strategies. We will talk now about this. So before explaining this slide, it's important that if you have any of these previous signals, just don't wait until the last minute and ask for help. to your professional healthcare, or to your physiotherapist, or to your doctor. We are here to help you, but it's important that don't wait just feeling more and more pain. Okay. Here you can see some tips to try to minimize this discomfort. So if pain appears in the tendon area the day after exercise, wait 48 hours to apply the same load. That means if I run on Monday and the next day I have pain in this tendon, I feel some stiffness, I feel some inflammation, don't apply again the same load. Don't go run again. Okay, it's important because you are going to re-agudizate this inflammation. So what can I do? Instead, I can apply another type of load. I can apply some isometric exercise. We can see in this video, the isometric exercise are just exercise useful to reduce the pain, and just holding the position with a knee extension to try to load the calf muscles, and with a knee flexion to try to load the soleus muscles. Then I can do aerobic exercise, avoiding high impact activity as running. And I can also do some complementary workouts. It's very important to have a good condition in my central area of the body, in my core, and of course try to use active or passive recovery strategies to modulate this load. We'll talk now about these recovery strategies. I pay special attention in these techniques, and because now for this return to the activity, it's very important to control this load. So the recovery strategies are part of this invisible training, and they are focused on the body, the mind, on nutritional aspects, and sleep. So there are all this technique or all these actions I do to recover from a training session, psychologically and mentally and physically. Okay, so it's important to keep in mind that you have to recover your body and your mind. So does it exist an ideal recovery routine for everyone? So, no. Maybe for me something it's gonna work very well. I don't know, maybe for me just doing some stretches after my session, it worked very well, but for another person, no. So it's important to try to individualize these recovery strategies and to have the perception that what you are doing, it's well for you. This is also very important. So what can I do on my body to recover after a training session and to accelerate this process to have a better tolerance to the next training session? I can do some low intensity aerobic exercise. So that means that I can go walking, I can go jogging, okay, just between 10 and 15 minutes of a low aerobic exercise is enough. Then I can do some stretches, focus on this posterior chain. I can do some mobility exercise, as you can watch in this video. This video is available in the Fit Good YouTube channel. And here it's important, remember that there are only some examples of exercise. You must try to individualize this exercise to your feelings, to your injuries, or to your history of injuries. It's important to have a good hip and ankle region mobility. There are two joints that sometimes, if they don't work well, I can have more problems in my knee or in my lumbar region. So as runner, it's important to keep in mind to have a good mobility in these two joints. And then self-massage, focus on the hamstring and the calf muscles or any tight muscle. I can use some tools as foam roller, the ball massage, and vibration foam roller or gun. This video you will have in your personal mail, and don't worry because here we can only see 2 minutes, so it will be available for everyone. What else? Some other techniques or actions I can use to modulate this load. The electrostimulation is useful after training session to try to recover my muscles, to try to relax and release all this tension. Then core therapy could be useful and important now with this warm in summer. It's important to try to cool down your body temperatures. And then the compression garment are useful too during the exercise to reduce the muscle fatigue, to reduce the impact in your bone and in your muscles, and also after the exercise, trying to reduce the soreness and to accelerate the recovery process. Well, and as Dani told you before, sleep hygiene, it's a very, very important part. During the night and during the rest, we are doing a lot of biological process. So it's important to sleep well and to detect if I have any of these symptoms, try to recover from them and try to ask for help if I have problems during my in my sleeping. You will have these tips for effective sleep in your mail. And just to finish the presentation, mind and body are very closely related, connected. So it's not only important to recover from my training session, from recover physically, but also mentally. And about this subject, I think Sergi has a very good presentation and he's gonna talk you about how to recover and how to be better mentally. So for my part that's all. I think it was useful for all of you, and if you have any question, I will try to answer it.
We have one question so far. It's just about physical tests to understand your own level of fitness. I know the IHF referees have all of you to help them and maybe some certain tools they use, but what can you tell us about other referees elsewhere in the world or other players and other people just trying to assess their own level of fitness? Can you give some examples of things they can do to figure out their own fitness right now?
To assess his physical condition?
Yes.
Okay. So I think there are tests, very easy tests as running test, just seeing how is the heart rate. Mm-hmm. I think maybe Dani talking more about this kind of test to assess the return to the activity, maybe, I don't know. Specific physical test.
I think that this is a good idea to wait for 1-2 weeks to begin to train again, to begin from zero in a lot of cases, and step by step try to check the physical condition with tests. We use the shuttle test with the referees because it's an easy test to check the heart rate of the referees. But I think that it's a good idea to wait for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and then to check this physical condition.
Okay, that's all so far, so we can continue whenever you're ready.
Hey, thank you, Danny. Thank you, Maria, for your ideas. As in a very brief summary up would be to adapt the training on what kind of physical status you have after a confinement, something like that. Not training as before the confinement, but adapting, knowing how you are, and then adapting the training to your physical status, to your actual physical status. Thank you, guys. And now we change workshop and we go to nutrition. I'm going to present this this workshop that it's been done by Ariadna Magriña, that she's our specialist in sports nutrition, and she takes care about our referees along the World Championship, managing the food we have in the restaurants and on the courts, and giving them advices to use the food first to be healthy, and then to from a point of view of sports nutrition, to gain more physical status, energy, or anything that can perform your status with food. So let me show what Ariadna has prepared for us, for IHF referees, but also remember always also valid to worldwide handball referees. Okay, that's the topic: nutrition during confinement and back to whistling. So we have a special situation that it's the COVID-19, and we need to have a specific nutritional objectives to know what to eat and when to eat. Because if we don't know that information, we will be at home eating anything we need or we can, and that would be awful for our purposes of referring. First of all, goals, objectives, to maintain a good health and performance, the general goal, okay? Second, that's a big opportunity to improve your physical status, your physical shape, okay? Don't relax at home like Danny was telling us, like watching Netflix, Game of Thrones, 10 hours per day, eating fries. And okay, you can do a little bit if you like it, but take care and think about if you are doing too much or not, okay? It's a big opportunity, that crisis, to improve your habits, your healthy habits. Then be active, please. To be confined not means to be stopped at home. Okay, we can do a lot of things at home. We've been preparing different trainings that we have sent to our IHF referees to train at home. Okay, don't stop, please. Always having in mind that we are talking for world, okay, and we have a lot of different situations. Now there are people confined. Now at the same time there's people with no confination. So that information is always in a general purpose, okay? And thinking about that, if that kind of person that, for instance, we have gone out of confinement, we have to think that it's very probably that we will go back to a confinement again, okay? So that's very important to have in mind, even if you are actually confined or not, okay? Then follow a varied and balanced diet. We have talked a lot about this issue with IHF referees, but as much as you can, please try to eat as wide and varied you can. Learn a little bit about how to eat healthy, a little bit, not so much, and try to apply. Okay? Then we will see some tips to do that. Maintain a good resting also. Okay. Yes, if we are confined, we are at home, but this doesn't mean that we are resting properly. Okay, so let's have that in mind and let's think about it. Take care about sleeping quality. It's not the same sleeping, but being on the bed, but sleeping well. It's very different when you sleep well and you feel really, really restored and relaxed. Okay. Then smart management of stress. We will talk about a little bit of stress in the mental coaching part workshop that we will do after. But please, stress is one of the most biggest enemies that every person has, but even more in the referee function. Okay, how to manage, how to cope with stress. That's going to be a really good and a really big topic for next year with our referees. And as we say always, an optimal intake of water. Okay, think about the medium person always drinks less than they should be. Okay, so try to drink a little bit more, even if you are at home. So let's see different nutritional goals that we can do during an actual lockdown or in a future lockdown. The first of all, improve and maintain an optimal immune system. Okay, the biggest danger we have now in that crisis is to or to get this virus. Okay, the only way to not getting this virus is to have a very strong immune system. Okay, so to have an immune system very strong, we need to prioritize certain consumption of food, like fruits, vegetables, fish, whole grain, and legumes. Okay, and try to apart all the other things about fat and sugars. Then reduce, that's the part, reduce that kind of food rich in refined sugars. That means that kind of white sugars that are worse than the whole sugars. But also remind the whole sugars are also a bad idea. Okay. And talking about also about trans and saturated fats and all that kind of pre-cooked foods you can find in a supermarket, for instance. And what about alcohol? And I think we don't need to talk about fat food. And increase also antioxidant foods like omega-3 vitamins, ACD that we will see now. Then, in that way, talking about immune system, try to reduce the consumption of pro-inflammatory foods. There are certain foods that gives you more inflammation to your body. Okay. Something like red meats and ultra-processed foods that are that kind of foods you can find in a big surface, in a big supermarket that are cooked and in plastic. And all that kind of refined cereals and sugars we were talking before. Okay, all that kind, and alcohol. All that kind of foods are pro-inflammatories. So if we give more inflammation to our body, our body will has to disinflammate at the same time that maybe is fighting against the virus. Okay, so if we give the most tools to our body to fight against the virus, we will be healthier. Yes. So by the moment we have immune system and pro-inflammatory foods taken away. Then, what about the intake of omega-3? How to increase that anti-inflammatory apport? We can take bluefish, any kind of bluefish. That it's very interesting because it's smaller than the other kind of fishes. So they are healthier. Like mackerel, salmon, tuna, sardines, for instance, a lot of omega-3. Vegetable oils, chia seeds, flax, for instance, and that kind of healthy foods, healthy foods that are enriched with omega-3. You will see the package, sure, okay? And always interesting to supplement it if you are vegan or vegetarian. Okay, so by the other side, talking about vitamins, please increase the intake of vitamin A. We can find it in animals, in fish or meat, for instance, but also in spinach and sweet potatoes, carrots, for instance, okay? Vitamin A. Then vitamin C, fruits and vegetables. They are the kings of vitamin C, okay? Please take 2-3 pieces of fruit every day to work your, or to have your vitamin C level you need to be hard and strong enough to fight and defeat any kind of virus. And then the vitamin D, sunlight. Okay, we can take it with sun or from sunlight. Sunbathing without protection, about 20 minutes, and also from bluefish. Okay, but remember, it's very interesting to not wear sunscreen protection. Okay, because here in Spain we have a lot of sun, you know, but we have a lot of cases of persons that don't have enough vitamin D because we are used to use a lot of sunscreen, sun protection. Okay, so even here with a lot of sun, we have problems with vitamin D. Okay, it's interesting in certain populations to supplementate it. Okay, to supplementate it if you have some deficiencies. And what about these two components, selenium and zinc, that they are antioxidants that works together with vitamins to empower and to give more strength to your body to fight against virus. Okay, that's always the final goal. Fight and to defeat and to prevent the virus. So we look for selenium and zinc in meat, Brazil nuts, seafood, different kinds of fish, and then zinc with eggs, brown rice, peanuts, and dark chocolate. Okay, dark chocolate means more than 85% of cocoa. Okay, less than, fewer than 85%, it's not healthy. Please try the 85%. And very important, that last one, as one of the best nutritional goals during that kind of lockdown, to maintain a smart intake. Okay, that advice goes in the same direction that Danny and Maria were telling us, or were talking to us, to adapt your training, your load of training to this situation. Okay, so that's the same in nutrition. We need to adapt what you eat, when you eat, and how you eat to the situation. Okay, so please stop right now and think about if you are locked down or in a possible future, if you are eating in the same way that you were eating before the lockdown in your regular life, living, training, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, if we are confined, our activity will decrease, dramatically decrease. So we need to decrease also our way of eating. eating less and eating healthier. Okay, if not, we will get too much fat. Okay, so we need to differentiate about two interesting concepts that are emotional hunger and physical hunger, to be able to manage them properly. Physical hunger is that kind of hunger that when you are at home and you have symptoms of hunger, you want to eat, you need to eat, you would eat anything that you find. Okay, that kind of hunger is physical hunger. You have a lot of hunger and you would eat anything you find on the fridge, for instance. Okay, that's the real hunger. And then we have the emotional hunger. That's the tricky one. That's the dangerous one in a lockdown. Always in the regular situation, but more in a lockdown. The emotional hunger is that hunger that it's activated by an emotion, by an old emotion that it's related to that kind of situation. That means that you get stressed, for instance, and your way of killing that stress or stopping by a little moment that stress is eating. So suddenly you feel hunger. At that point, please think, would you eat anything like in the physical hunger? If the answer is yes, I would eat an apple, like bread, like anything that I find. Okay, that's right. Eat it. You need to eat because it's physical hunger. But if you only have hunger for one thing or for one kind of thing, for instance, that kind of situations that suddenly you feel a lot of necessity to eat chocolate. Everybody feels that sometime. Or when you suddenly you need to eat bread, you don't have more hunger or hunger of other things, but you need to eat a little bit of bread. That's emotional hunger. We need to try to avoid that kind of hunger because it's going to give us more kilos because we will finish eating more than we need. We actually really need. Okay, so try to eat according to the hunger and to the satiety signals. Okay, only eat if you have physical hunger. Okay, and stop eating at the other side at the end of the eating process. Stop eating when you are at your 80% of your stomach. Don't fulfill your stomach at maximum with food. Always stop at your 80%. Okay, that's a very good tip to try to maintain your weight in a healthy way. So that tool is very interesting, and we use a lot with our referees because with this tool that it's called the healthy plate or the harbor plate, we can design, we can elaborate and make a very healthy plate or dish for a meal. Okay, how to eat properly? How can I eat in a healthy way? So imagine a dish, a plate, where you usually eat like this. So the half plate, this side, half place, it's gonna be or might be only vegetables and fruits. Okay, design your plate with vegetables and fruits in a 50% of percentage. Okay, then the rest, the other 25% would be cereals, tubers, and grains. Okay, no more than 25%. Talking about healthy nutrition, not sports nutrition. And the 25% rest would be a healthy protein, all kind of legumes, fish, shellfish, poultry, and diet. Okay? So in that way, you can configure, you can make a very healthy plate. So from the beginning to here, it was in confinement situations. What about back to whistling? When we finish the confinement and we go back to whistling, what do we need to do? So the answer is to adjust your food intake again. You have adjust it during the confinement. Now you need to readjust after the confinement or by increasing the caloric expenditure. Okay, you are going to increase your exercise, so you are going to increase the consumption of calories. So you need to eat a little bit more than when you were not training as regular. So your carbohydrate, your carbs needing will be increased also, because it's the main source of energy when we are talking about sports nutrition. And the last part would be the management of stress. Okay, the stress, the resting time, and the sleep quality, it's always related with nutrition. Okay, that's very important. The best I eat, the best I will rest and sleep. Okay, so in a best way I will be to manage my stress. Okay, it's always related. Training, avoiding injuries, nutrition, and the last part of the workshops, mental coaching. Then, when you go back to whistling, it's the same idea. Try to maintain an appropriate diet according if you are training or if you have a day match or if you have a resting match. Okay, for instance, in a pre-training, pre-day training or pre-match, we need to eat more to increase the intake of carbs and hydration. Okay, during the training and the match, we need to take care about carbs. We are not losing energy, and the hydration always. Okay, in the mid part. And the post-training, to recover from that effort, remember to replace the energy you have lost with carbs and replace all that kind of muscle you have also lost during the practice, during your referring, with protein and a little bit of more of hydration with a little bit of or portion of salt to recover. Okay. So, we were talking the relationship between training, the risk of injury, and nutrition. We can reduce, and that's a very good news, we can reduce the risk of injury taking care about what we eat. Okay, so please, enough food for that day match or for that training match, enough energy to do that training or that match, but avoiding a calorie deficit. Okay, because the objective is to have enough energy to train, to avoid a caloric or a caloric deficit, but not to eat too much, like to be too fulfilled that you cannot think properly during your referee. Okay, then your optimal natural protein intake to recover that kind of fibers, muscular fibers that are being broken with the practice and they need to restore. Also the appropriate water consumption. There are a lot of scientific studies that relate the water consumption with the injuries. So please take care with your hydration. And what we were talking in the beginning, the intake of anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. And in this way, what we were talking about the stress management and the consequences. If you have emotional hunger and you fall down always in emotional hunger, plus a poor diet, your risk of injury will increase a lot. Okay, that's the main message from that part of psychological nutrition or coaching nutrition. take care about that kind of hunger or emotional hunger related with a poor diet, because almost for sure that will lead you to an injury. Okay. But the other side, the good news is that if you eat properly, healthy, and what your body needs, if you listen to your body and you give what you know is good, you will be able to avoid more injuries. Okay, that's the final message. And finishing that part, very simple graphic to explain you how to eat during confinement and how to eat back to whistling. Okay, during confinement we have less training or no training in some cases. We have a lot of less activity, so there's less thermogenesis. We accumulate more calories, and our hunger goes down. Okay, so we need to eat properly to our hunger and to our practice. The same that Danny was talking and Maria about to have a correct load of training. No? So now a correct load or amount of eating. For instance, a porridge for breakfast, then for lunch, salad, some rice, chicken, and an apple. And in the night, some greens or legumes with a little bit of salmon, and finishing with an apple. And when we go back to whistling, we add to that amount of food more energy, more carbs, different types of carbs that gives us that kind of energy, okay, to be able to give our best performance, because we are going to have more training necessities, more activity, and more hunger. So with the same basis, we can eat the porridge in the breakfast, and in the mid-morning an apple, for instance. Then in the lunch we can eat a little bit more of rice, and in the mid evening we can, before training, for instance, we can eat some bread with different or a sandwich with different kind of stuff. Okay, recovering with greens, legumes, and protein at night. Okay, so more or less that would be this the idea, to adapt your nutrition to your status. Okay, if you are confident, please eat very healthy and adapt the amount to your activity. You are going back to whistling, adapt that kind of eating more carbs and more proteins, and more quantity, more amount of that kind of food to have enough energy to train again. So that would be the main thing about nutrition. I don't know if there's any question about of this, Courtney?
Yes, we have one question. Someone has asked about eating to lose weight, because some people have put on some weight in this confinement period.
Yes. Well, it's a very common situation that if you haven't done this, probably you have earned some weight, some kilos. In Spain, we have calculated that the average after the confinement, it's been 3 kilos more. So that's the main, that's the same message that Danny was giving. Think about your objective. If you are overweighted now, you need to start training, adapting your training to that situation. You are not like before the confinement. So please adapt your eating and adapt your training to that situation. You can combine, for instance, a very good and healthy kind of eating with a little bit less calories than you put need, and a combination of aerobic and strength training. So that way, you are going to lose some grams, some kilos in a few weeks, because you are training, you are activating your body, and so that you are burning calories, and you are eating just a little bit less that you need. So you will adjust that weight in some way. There's also, you can also eat the same way. If you are used to eat very healthy, you can continue eating very healthy, but adding only the training. That would be also a good idea. A little bit slower, but it will help you to out this kind of.
All right, that's all the questions for now, so we can continue.
Great. So let me change the presentation. And we are here. Right. And that's the last workshop of seminar. We've been talking about training, avoiding injuries, and nutrition. And now the last part of our way of understanding health and performing in any kind, at the end, any kind of sport, but now actually in handball, and specifically in referring of handball. The mental coaching. That's been the last topic we are implementing with IHF referees. We are just starting right now and at next year, 2021. And I'm going to give you some very easy tips and some ideas to start thinking about what mental coaching could help you as a referee, as a person, or as an athlete. Okay, but always thinking about referees. We will start with IHF referees, giving that kind of lectures in the next World Championship. This lecture, it's been prepared by Lucia Rodriguez, that it's our mental coach and psychologist. And I'm going to present also this one, trying to give you that kind of tips. Let me show you. Okay. How to cope with stress. Let's start from that point. We all have stress. At the end, stress is necessary because it's a kind of sign of alert that something is happening. Now we are not in the forest, in danger of being eaten by a lion, but we have another kind of stress signals in our regular life that we need to recognize and to know how to manage, okay? Because stress, it's not good company for referees. Not also for no one, but it's not good for referees because stress doesn't allow a referee to take the best decisions in the precise moment, okay? So, first of all, Danny was talking about that, control, okay? Talking about and thinking about stress, first of all, achieve as great control over the stressor as circumstances allow, okay? So try to realize what's the stressor and what's the stressor doing to you. What kind of stressor or stressors you have and what those stressors are doing to you, okay? That's a very first step, but very important because many people don't do that and they don't realize that they are stressed because our standard of stress is too much high. So they don't think they are actually stressed. So that's a very good tool to control and to understand our stress level. Think about what can I control of my stressor? If I have a stressor, what can I control that stressor? And by the other side, what can I not control by the stressor? Okay, so let's understand the stressor. What can I control and what can I not control? And then what can I do with that situation? In that certain situation, what can I do? And when I understand what can I do, I will be able to understand what I should accept. Yes? So that I can improve the situation. Yes? So it's always very interesting to think that you always have the option to relax on your stressor because you cannot control it. If you are in a match day, for instance, and you are stressed because you know that there will be, for instance, 10,000, 20,000 people on the court. Okay, you cannot do anything about that. That's the real situation. You will find that 20,000 people shouting for sure. So try to think about that. I cannot change that situation. So let's try not to think so much about that stressor. Okay, so accepting and understanding what can I control and not control, we will be able to improve the situation, gaining more self-confidence, confidence. And second, if you cannot control the situation, as we were talking in the example, maybe a person can change his way of thinking, okay, about that stressor. So you can think about the example of that huge amount of people shouting, and you actually can't control that. So you always have the option to think, hey, let's not control that issue, that problem, okay? And I allow myself to be vulnerable because everyone would feel this way in that situation. It's not only a thing about me. It's a thing about human being. So everybody, again, a lot of people shouting, it's feeling stressed. Maybe you don't realize, but you are stressed at the end, at the bottom of your mind, okay? So understand that it's not only you. There are a lot of people that would be in the same way than you, because it's normal. We are human and we have emotion. And actually you can't control that situation. So no control, I need to adapt that situation and change my mind, okay? I need to try and to start thinking about, I can't get nervous about something like that amount of people shouting if I cannot. Okay. So at the end, the tip is also stop thinking about that stressor. Okay, it has no sense to be always in a buckle, always thinking about the same, because the stress is going to help to increase, and you will be much less self-confident. So from that point of view, more things we can do. It's a little bit surprising, but try to be thankful. Try always to be thankful for stress management, because being thankful gives you a positive energy that that habilitates you to unconsciously download your stress, your level of stress. It's a very good thing to apply. Okay? Then for manage anger and bad mood. And first of all, understand from where comes that bad mood and that anger. And then realize when you are projecting that anger or that bad mood and to who. Okay? So if you are realizing that you are in an anger moment of stress, and you are maybe shouting to someone, stop, give to you a timeout, and think about that. Hey, I'm stressed and I'm in anger. So let's rethink that situation. And then relate with others. Try not to isolate you and try to be in social contact because we are social beings. That doesn't mean that you have to or you cannot be the very first starting minutes before the match alone on your dressing room, but in the first hours before the match, try to be a little bit more social, okay, in your entrance. So that was about managing stress. Then we will, or after we will do a little exercise about managing stress and some tips about building positive relations or relationships with persons in confinement, but also with your partner while you are referring or while you're referring live, okay? So very important to have a very good relation with your partner, that it's also a good way of controlling stress. Always try and think if you are listening to the other as he wants to be listened, okay? So in a situation, choose to listen to the other more than trying to give your opinion. Stop yourself, think about the situation, and listen to the other, okay? Until the person has finished his speaking, okay? Then you can give your point of view. Then it always makes better relations if on the speaking of your partner, you ask him questions or you reformulate questions, being interesting or being more interesting for his dissertation, okay? Asking him things, putting in value all the speaking that he has given. And that's difficult in many persons, but try to avoid all kind of judgment. Very important. We are very used to judge everything and more referees because it's your work. But talking about relationships at home or with your referring partner, try to not to be so judged with him, or try not to comparize or analyze, even giving advices to the person on what to do if the person haven't asked for. The person, if your partner asks you for, okay, give your opinion and that's it. If not, your opinion is for yours. Okay, the other person very probably only wants to be listened. That's it. Okay. We have an exercise. I think we are running out of time, Courtney. Maybe we can jump the exercise, or we have time, still time.
If you have more to talk about, you can go for a little bit. It's okay. We don't have to rush to anything else. Okay. Okay. The full presentation will be hung in the IHF Educational Center. So everybody will has access to the presentation and they can read that kind of practice to build much better relations with your partner, okay? But it's in that way we were talking about listening to the person, asking to the person, being interested for the person, and try not to judge. Okay, that's the main reason. So we can jump this part and we go directly to stress management techniques, to or pair of stress management techniques. That kind of very, very easy techniques you can use during a confinement, during a match day,
or just before starting the match in a dressing room, for instance. Okay. We have two very good techniques. The first one, slow breathing. Okay. Yourself where you are, as you are, slow breathing. And slow breathing means just closing your eyes and start realizing how is your breathing. When we are nervous, our breathing, if we have this capacity, this pulmonary capacity, or less, okay, all of this. When we are nervous, our capacity of breathing, it's more or less like this. And we are breathing like this. When we are able to breathe like this, okay? So if we try this kind of mindfulness exercises with a slow breathing, we can slow down our heart rate rhythm so that our stress will decrease. And that means very easy, sitting in a comfortable way, eyes closed, and thinking about how the air is entering through your nose and going out through your mouth. And then you can start counting numbers. For instance, 4 times inspiring and 6 times expiring. Okay. Or maybe 6 times in, 8 times out. Or 8 in, 10 out. Okay. Start by the first one, 4, 6. And then when you feel comfortable, you can go to 6, 8 or 8, 10 or 10, 12, for instance, okay? 1 minute, 2 minutes of that kind of exercise about mindfulness will give to your brain the message that you are getting relaxed. So the sympathetic system will, the parasympathetic system will decrease the stress, so you will feel very much better, okay? And then used to, or try to be used to give you healthy or good self-instruction, okay? We are used to talk to us in a hard way, in a bad way, saying phrases like, oh, I've been doing that thing in a bad way. How silly am I? Please stop thinking that way and try to start talking in a positive way to you, okay? For instance, calm, stay calm, deep breath, give to you positive messages. Everything is in order. Everything will be fine. I am safe. Okay? I am ready for this. Go out and enjoy. Okay? And if you do both techniques, it's for sure your stress will be decreased. Not absolutely, but you will feel very much comfortable. Okay? Slow breathing first, and then positive talking. And try this, practice this at home, and every time you feel anxious or nervous, because it's a very good tool for stress management, okay? And we have, for finishing, we have some tips for match day, for instance. Some different tips to think about it when we have a moment of stress. That could be a punctual confinement or a match day or something like that. I'm going to try to be very, very quick. Please start the day with calm. You can do that pair of exercises within talking about meditation or mindfulness right now when you wake up. Then try to welcome the new day by breathing calmly and smiling, for instance, okay? What you do with your body, your mind understands it, okay? Sorry. For instance, try to be positive during the match day before the previous hours. Enjoy every step of the morning and of the day. It's not everything about the nervous or the anxiety or the stress I can feel. But try to enjoy what you can enjoy during the day. And try also to free yourself from distractions. Yes, try to focus your mind on your goal and think about that kind of positive things that are making you more focused on your goal. And the last one that I like very much is to feed yourself innerly healthy. What does it mean? Don't give to you that kind of rubbish, of mental rubbish that gives you more nerves and anxiety, like trash talking, like negative talking, like nerves, like stress, like if you have a match, like watching all the news about the match and getting you nervous, reading newspapers about what the coach of the team has said about the match. Try to isolate of all that kind of negative things and feed yourself innerly with a healthy and positive thing. So that's it. We have finished also that workshop of mental coaching or tips about mental coaching to manage stress and relationships. So, and at the end, that's it. We are finishing that seminar. We want to, let me stop. Okay. Let me finish the presentation. Telling to all our listeners, all our watchers, that they have a lot of features, a lot of workshops, a lot of information on the IHF Education Center, where we talk more deeply about all that kind of tips we've been surfing on these topics, but they have different workshops to enter more in deep knowledgement about that kind of topics. And just for finishing, I want to thank all the people listening. I want to thank also all IHF crew and our Fit Good Pro IHF team for that kind of big, huge work we've been doing these weeks for that seminar. So thank you to all the listeners. Hope you have been enjoying and that will be useful for you all. Thank you.
Thank you. I said thank you very much. This was very informative. Just to let everyone know, we have 2 more lectures tomorrow. We return to the restarting after COVID time with the physical preparation coach for the PSG men's handball team, Arthur Yapo. That's going to be at 3 o'clock Central European Summertime. Before that, we have a little break from this particular topic with 4 IHF referees who are going to be talking about high speed and flow in modern handball. So that's coming up tomorrow. I hope you can all join us. And thank you very much to our friends in Spain again. I will see you soon, I hope. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.